So in this video, we are going to look at the next type of random function. So here you have the rand range with the first two, and then you have the random function itself, which generates those floats. So we explored those two, and now we're going to look at the third one. So I'm going to take my comments out here, move them here, and then I'm going to add in type 3 rand range with 3 values. So I have for I in range, just like I did before. I'm still going to generate 20 random numbers, so it loops 20 times. I'm going to look at num3, and I'm going to have rand range, and then I'm going to use these values here. So I have 0, 100, and 5. And then I'm going to print that value. So here I'm just going to add in some comments and generates a random number. And then from here, it prints a number to the screen. Just remembering what our program is set up to do. So here, if I run it, there we go. So we can see an assortment of random numbers have been generated. Now, when I look at these numbers, the first thing I notice is that they all end in 5 and 0. So I'm learning that they are all multiples of 5, or they're 5 units apart. The next thing I notice is that 95 appears. And let's see if I ran this again, what numbers I would get. So I can get some more numbers. I can see that 0 appears. Basically, it's everything 0 through 95, all those multiples of 5 and 10, but not 100. And so this works very similar to rand range in the previous example. This number right here has an additional meaning to it. So this still starts at 0 and includes 0 and doesn't include 100. But the difference here is it doesn't do every number between 0 and 1 less than 100. It doesn't do every integer. What it does instead is it uses it as a step. So what this does is it generates a random number between the first and the second integer. So here it would start at 4 and go up until 10 minus 1. Start at 3 and go up to 20 minus 1. But from here, this third integer represents the number of counts between the randomly generated numbers. So for example, here there are 5 counts. That's why we were seeing, if I pull this back up, we were seeing 0 and then 5 counts would be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, and so on and so forth. So that's why we're seeing those multiples of 5, because this tells you how many counts there are between numbers. We start at 0 and then we add 5 to it, that produces 5. We add 5 to it, that produces 10. So as I said before, the first integer is included in the set. The second integer is not included, so we don't include the 100. And that third number represents the number of counts that are in there. So here, if we did, okay, we're going to start at 4, go up until 10, and it's going to go every 2. We should be predicting, okay, every 2, we start at 4, add 2 to it, that would be 6, add 2 to it, that would be 8, add 2 to it, that would be 10, but we know 10 is that outer range and it's not included, so we would expect to see 4s, 6s, and 8s when we randomly run this. And that's what we're seeing, our 4s, 6s, and 8s. If I run this example here, so here we start at 3, we go up until we get to 20 or beyond, and then 5. So here, if I run this, there we go. So we can see, okay, we started at 3, but when we add 5 to 3, we see 8s. We add 5 to that, we see 13s. We add 5 to that, we see 18s. And then if we added 5 to that, that would be 23. And as a result, that would not appear because that's beyond our outer range of 20. So you can see how these work. This is the number of counts between them, the number of counts. So that's how that third one works when we have those 3 values going in there.